Machinery Pete here. Here's a preview of the Al Bruhn Farm Retirement Auction this Saturday, June 21st in Mapleton, Iowa. We'll start off with a segment I did Monday on Ag Day TV show previewing the auction, and then stay tuned afterwards for an interview I did with Al Bruhn.
It's always interesting to hear how some people got their start in farming, and Machinery Pete joins us with the story of one that now comes with some interesting hardware.
Well, I tell you what, folks, I have seen some interesting farm auctions over my 35 and a half years. A lot of different equipment lineups, configurations, but I got to say, one of the most intriguing sales I've ever run across is coming up this Saturday, June 21st in Mapleton, Iowa. It's a retirement auction for Al Bruhn. Now, last week I was able to drive out to Mapleton, Iowa, spend a couple hours with Al, sitting at the kitchen table, hearing about his farm operation. And the sale is by Iowa Machinery Man. Check out their website, iowamachineryman.com. Now, it's interesting, Al kind of scratched his way up into a large farming operation, but he told me he got a start. He said, Pete, I had a job when I was young, I saved my money, I bought a Camaro, I think Al said when he was in high school, for like $6,200. And when he was 25, he sold the Camaro to his grandfather to get some land, sold it for $8,200, and he was on his way. Now, when you look at the sale bill, people see the 6 combines and assume that Al must have been a custom operator, but no, he actually wasn't. He's got 4 John Deere 9770 STS Hilco side hills and a pair of John Deere 9870S Hilco side hills. So 6 John Deere side hill combines on the hills of western Iowa there. And Al told me, Pete, I got into the John Deere S680s. They just weren't for me. I like these 70 series. So again, 6 side hills selling on the sale Saturday, June 21st. For tractors, Al has 3 2018 John Deere 8370Rs from about 3,400 hours to about 4,560 hours. He's got 4 2018 John Deere 8345Rs from 2,481 hours up to 3,582 hours. How about 7 Kinsey grain carts, 6 Kinsey 850s. Amazing lineup, cat skid steers, and also Al was able to purchase a couple Camaros along the way, a 24 model and a 15 model, I think, to kind of tie him back to his roots, how he got started. So again, the sale is Saturday, June 21st, Mapleton, Iowa. Check out iowamachineryman.com. Hey folks, Machinery Pete here. I'm pleased to be joined by Al Bruhn and his son Jared out there in, correct to say, Mapleton, Iowa, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate your hospitality last week. I drove down and we had a nice visit at your place there, Al, and I got an up close look at your impressive line of equipment that's selling this Saturday, June 21st. Folks, check out the website iowamachineryman.com. The sale Saturday, does it start at like 9 or 9:30, Al?
Small items start at 9 a.m. sharp.
Okay. And our friends with Iowa Machinery Man had reached out, and so we saw what a amazing lineup you have on your retirement sale Saturday, Al. And again, thank you for your hospitality last Thursday. We had a chat. We chatted for about 2 hours at your place there, and it was fascinating to hear your background on your farming career. So before we hop into the machinery and talk about your very unique line of equipment, let's talk a little bit about the sale. It's a farm retirement sale, Al, and just tell us a little bit about the sale, and then let's talk about how you got your start just a few years ago.
You bet, Greg. I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you today and visit with your platform of people. And I started pretty early. I had a paper out when I was 6, and that kind of led into working on the farm. I had a school teacher that grabbed me by the ear one day, and I must have been, because I was a town kid, and must have been being a little ornery that day, and she grabbed me by the ear and she said, would you like to work on a farm? And that was Greg and Jean Conover from Mapleton. And good people, and I didn't know much about farming, didn't know much about taking care of cattle at that point, but they taught me, and I worked for them through high school, and then decided to go on my own, and started how I started was I bought a Camaro in high school, and I kept that for 6 years, and I sold that to start farming.
I
Um,
remember you told me last week, Al, you remember what you paid for that Camaro
you know,
back in the day.
yes, sir. 6,200, brand new, and it had 10,000 miles on it 6 years later, and I sold it for 82, and bought a full line of equipment to start farming 130 acres of my grandpa Bruhn's farm. Um, and I had $2,000 left over after I
Nice.
bought a full line of equipment. I mean, it wasn't brand new stuff. It was $25 disc, $25 drag, $250. I think you probably helped me with this. I think it was a 1240 John Deere 4-row.
Yeah, planner, sure.
Yeah.
A
Corn picker.
$25 disc, man. I don't see that's a machinery Pete by the day there, Al. Wow.
Well, when I got done with it, I tore it apart in my garage and painted it all, and I was pretty proud of it. And um, I will tell you a little bit about the disc that led me to how I farm today. When I bought that disc, I thought everything had to be disced, and so I disced the heck out of the ground and planted it, and then I used that $25 drag and I drug it, and it looked so beautiful. And 2 years in a row, I got a 2-inch rain right after I did that. And so I've been farming 40 years and no tilling for 38. And I'm a very big believer in keeping the dirt where it belongs, and water quality, and
Yeah, you were ahead of the game there, my friend, on the no-tilling almost 4 decades ago.
I believe people thought I was kind of nuts when I started it, and today it's kind of the way of the world.
Yeah. And for
And
people not familiar, Mapleton, Iowa, I mean, you guys, I forget what county you guys are in, but you got some good slopes out there, don't you?
yes, sir. It's definitely challenging. I mean, there's some very nice, what you'd call hill farms that lay nice, but there's also some stuff that's some people probably would say shouldn't be farmed. But obviously, I didn't own the land, and they bought it, and I farmed it. And so I did that for. I rented the 130 from Grandpa first, and then he had a farm in Crawford County. I rented that, and that's when the significance of my 756 that's on the sale. My grandpa and I went 4 miles west of Schleswig, Iowa. I can take you right to the farm today where we bought the 756. I didn't have the money. Grandpa lent me the money. I paid him back, and bought the 756, and we used that for a while, and then I decided to kind of, as I grew, which I stayed at that kind of acreage till 1995, and then I met I call him IBP Bob Peterson, Iowa Beef Packers. Bob Peterson was one of the controlling interest owners of IBP, and Bob started buying land down here, and I didn't have the equipment to do what he wanted to do, and
Sure.
So Ford had a very good lease program on Ford tractors, and so that's what I leased was 8970s, and that's the significance of my 8970A on the sale of restoring it. That was the last one I bought before they merged together and changed. Ford New Holland merged together, and I used that one on the farm for a while, and then I restored it. I just took it out of my lineup for memory of Bob and I got to be very close, and he passed away. He passed away in 2004.
Okay.
And but he bought a lot of ground down here. We did a lot of work. I'd have a sign-up sheet at the school on Thursday afternoon, and I'd have 50 kids sign up to come out and work on the farms and clean them up. And today there's still farms that people would look at and say, I wouldn't farm that because it is steeper ground, but it's very productive. And I'm very proud of them farms today.
So you got connected with Bob back 30 years ago, and then over the years, going back to even when you started, getting some ground from your grandpa there, selling your Camaro, you've kind of scratched your way up over the decades, Al.
Yep, that's probably a good word. That's a good way to put it. It's just worked my way up slow, and of course, once I met Bob, things escalated pretty fast.
Sure. And folks, we should not forget about Al's son Jared here, and we need to thank Jared for helping set up the Zoom interview because Machinery Pete is not too technically advanced. Jared, thanks for your patience and your help. And folks, by the way, young Mr. Jared here has himself 5 locations of veterinary business. I think it's Valley Veterinary Center, Jared?
Yep, that's correct.
Where are your 5 locations?
The main one, I guess we call it the mothership, is up in Cherokee, Iowa.
Sure.
And then kind of satellite branches down through Holstein, Ida Grove, Anthem, and Mapleton. So yeah, we're busy, but we also enjoy it too. So, but from cattle to cats, and do a lot of horse stuff too. So
sure.
Jared with us, and I enjoy every one of them. So.
Well, visiting a little bit last week, I think you got your dad's entrepreneurial spirit and DNA there building. Hats off to what you've built. And Jared, I'll just throw it to you now as Dad gets ready to retire here at his sale coming up. Obviously, it's emotional, a farming career, a lifetime scratched forward. Tell us a little bit about your dad and how he cared for his equipment, from your viewpoint as you grew up.
Yeah, so I always say I spend most of my time behind a cow or chasing one. So I did a lot of the cattle stuff, which we over the years we have a sale usually in the fall down to Dunlap, and we sell 200-300 bred heifers dang near every year, and have a lot of cattle, pedigreed, Simmental, do a little bit of what we call club calf as well, and that's kind of the avenue I went. But
yep.
as you alluded to on your Machinery Pete video from last week, a lot of, and I guess the prime example would be them side hill combines. The ground that around here, those are what work, or that's what worked for us. And then as you can look at through, it don't take a rocket scientist to see that we took care of them. From the paint to the tires to, everything you got to take care of them to keep them working. So especially on the hills and as hard as you kind of work on the equipment, that's kind of what we needed. So, and then everything, the combines are the prime example, and that's where we'll stick with it. So.
Right. Yeah. You take care of equipment, it takes care of you, right, Al?
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
And folks, Al, I gotta say that when we first were pointing people to your website again, folks, iowamachineryman.com for the info and the bidding on Saturday, June 21st. But people thought you must be a custom operator, Al, with your 6 side hill combines, all 70 series. Have you been getting questions when people call? Like, did they just assume you're a custom guy?
No, I think some of the comments, on the internet allude to that. I can tell you the little bit of custom work I did, you can't even count on one hand, and them combines have done more like a benefit or something like that.
Right.
Or done some combining for a friend. They've done more of that
right.
than I've done custom combining.
Right. And you were telling me you kind of prefer that 70 series. You had the S680s, but just you kind of preferred the 70s.
I had 9510s, and then I had 9770s, and then I made the decision. When I say I got talked into it, that's not quite fair. I made the decision and to go to a 680, and they're 12, and I believe these numbers to be pretty close. They're 12,000 pounds heavier, the same transmission, same drive shaft, and I just didn't get along well. I didn't feel comfortable in the hills with them. They just didn't get around. They didn't climb the hills like a 9770 did. So I just traded all backwards, and I found machines that were in good shape, 3-4 years old, and made sure that when I got them, I did the things to preserve them because I knew I'd already tried new. And I just think this is one of the really, really good pieces of equipment that John Deere built is them 9770 series combines. And when I bought them, I want to take a little shout out to Joe's Welding in Denison, Iowa. Excuse me. They've been a big part of my operation.
Sure.
And Joe had the knowledge of where the wear spots from the inside out. And he put lining in them, stainless steel lining. And we were very proactive at that. And that's why these combines look and work the way they do today yet. The other point, when I'm talking about Joe's Welding, just in general, what Joe and Lee have done for my operation of being almost a partner, because anytime you call them, they came. When I had my planters, my 3600 planters, which there's 5 of them on the sale,
Yes.
and I just love them to death. I love the Kinsey planter. But when I bought them new, Joe came and plated them. I don't want this to sound bad about the Kinsey planter, but he had been around them enough to know some of the weaker spots.
Sure.
And he had the knowledge to know where to plate them. And we plated them when they were brand new.
Right.
Just to prevent.
Are those all the 5 3600 Kinseys? Are they all 1631s on the sale Saturday?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep. And a lot of parts. I have a lot of parts for them, new and used, but the used is probably in some people's books usable yet.
Sure.
To the point of servicing, and that you had brought up, this would be the stack of the 7 big tractors, and these are the invoices since I bought them all brand new.
Okay.
These are 1 through 7, and this particular brand new, this is a 8370R, one of them, tractor number 1. My invoices on that tractor since I've owned them is $23,247.50. What that represents is anything that besides warranty that they took care of.
Right.
This would represent service, because I always had them service my tractors when the bells and whistles went off in my cab that it was time for a service. We call them, they immediately come, and this is service on my tractors.
And that was Van Wall equipment?
Van Wall, and a shout out to Van Wall, used to be Puck Implement.
Yep.
I bought this stuff from Puck. It got handed off to Van Wall. I have nothing but good to say about them folks. Just from the service manager Randy to Brett, the main mechanic that they always sent me. Just a big shout out to them folks for being a part of my operation. When it comes to the invoices on my combines, I don't know whether you can see this.
That is quite a stack, Al.
Yeah.
That's what you were telling me last week. You had detailed records on all of them.
Yeah. This is 1 through 6, and everything that's ever been done to them since I owned them. Some of it would be just everyday maintenance.
Right.
Some of it would be if you ran something through the combine, a steel post or something like that needed fixed, and everything has always been fixed. I never turned a blind eye to any of that. And for example, this is combine number 1. The 10 years or so that I've owned it, $492,000 is what this represents of maintenance and taking care of them. I'm very proactive in the transmissions, the final drives. If they go through a checkup and there's visually not too much wrong, then we just say, let's dig into 4 final drives this year and check them out.
Sure.
Let's dig into this transmission. So there ain't a transmission that hasn't been checked. There's not a final drive that hasn't been checked. From radiators, my service records, they serviced them all. That's all in here.
Okay.
From filters. So I know when you look at the age, you think they can't, but these combines have been kept up, and I wouldn't. They're, when you say field ready, I guess a new combine is field ready.
Right.
These are field ready. The oil's been changed. The filters have been changed. They're ready to roll. They've been all inspected. They've all been gone through the shop. One, I didn't like they didn't like the looks of one unloading auger, and we just got done putting a new unloading auger on one of them, and which they've all had their series. I just spread it out so I didn't have to. I did do one thing all together one year, and that was the shaker arms and the rubber bushings and that whole mechanism. I can tell you just about to the penny what they were per combine. It's about $12,000 per combine.
Right.
And very important part of them that they do have a lot of longevity, but that's just been done over the last couple of years. So, they got a lot of life in them yet.
Well, again, folks, check out the sale. It's this Saturday, June 21st, iowamachineryman.com. 6 John Deere 70 Series Hilco side hills, 4 9770s, a pair of 9870s. You heard Al talk about. It strikes me, Al, you mentioned your partners along the way with the shop and then with Van Wall, but it seems to me like you view your equipment as, a vital partners in your operation over the years, the care you give them. I mean, those invoices, and as we talked about your tractors, maybe let's shift to those. You said 7. I think they're all 2018 model. 38370Rs from 2400 or 3,396 hours to 4,560. And I think you have 4 2018 8345Rs, 2,481 to 3,360 hours. Similar deal with your maintenance on the tractors?
Absolutely. And
you're the original owner on all of those?
What's that?
You're the first owner on all those?
Yes, bought them new. Okay. And I will tell you, when it comes to the hours of them, in a no-till operation, honestly, what most of them combines did, or them tractors did, was hooked up to these 3,600 planters. Sure. And they're hooked up to the Kinsey grain carts. And, these hills, you don't do anything fast. And so there's a lot of idle hours.
Sure.
So it's not like them tractors have been pulling a plow their whole life.
Right.
And they're in very good shape. If you get into the cabs, if you find a grease spot somewhere sale day, I'll rub it out because they're very clean.
Yeah, and a couple other tractors, folks, on the sale. Boy, low hour. I think your John Deere 6115M with loader. Al, does that only have, that's under 100 hours, isn't it?
Yes, John Deere, I think, and I'm going to say 10 years ago, they ran a special, and I don't know if they only made this tractor. I don't know how long they made it.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a sunroof in it. So I don't know if it was a special edition or what, but
sure.
I bought it. And honestly, that thing has never seen a bucket of dirt. The only thing it's done is push snow at my son's place between Mapleton and the cow farm, pushed some snow off his driveway.
Nice.
And it's been shedded its whole life. It's basically brand new.
Yeah, folks, 83 hours. Again, sells Saturday. Check out iowamachineryman.com. You also have a nice looking 2010 John Deere 7130 with a loader under 3,900 hours. Kind of that pre-def, good condition loader tractor there, Al.
Very nice tractor, and very well kept. And it looks very nice.
Now, we do need to spend a little more time on your blue tractor there. You start smiling there because this is a cool story, folks. Al is selling, I believe it's a 2002 New Holland 8970A. And over your shoulder, Al, we see it says Bruhn cattle. I think, Jared, you set that up there. And I think you said that tractor had quite a few hours on it, did a lot of hard work for your cattle business there. But we can tell you have a tender heart, Al, and nostalgia when talking about your grandpa or the Camaros. You restored that 8978, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I just got to a point that I thought, because I know the memories, that it takes me back to when I met Bob Peterson, who meant a lot to me, and kind of led me into this building this huge operation, if you want to call it that. I don't want to use any adjective that sounds braggadocious or anything, but it surely wasn't thought about to go to these many acres. It just happened,
right?
And a lot of it was through Bob, and that's the significance of restoring that 8970A, was in memory of Bob.
Nice. Well, it is a beautiful tractor, folks. I took some pictures of it when I was out last week. And again, go to iowamachineryman.com. If you love New Holland tractors, you want to look at Al's 8978 here. It's a beauty. And then the farm walls, that harkens back to your grandfather. You have a 756-68 model that's just gorgeous. And then a 49M and a 41H and a 41B, right?
Yes, sir. I do want to go back to the 8970.
Okay.
Just real quick, it has 17 or 18,000 hours on it. I'm not sure.
Yep.
But I talked to a gentleman from Michigan just a couple weeks ago on this sale, and he was talking about the 8970A, and his brother had one and has one. And, I wasn't making excuses or for the 18,000. He said, "Oh, Al, that's nothing. My brother has one with 28,000 hours on, and the motor's never been touched."
You talk about a good partner. That's a good partner right there.
Yeah, to the longevity, Ford obviously had a heck of a product. Now, have I fixed an air conditioner or put a new radiator in that thing when I went through it to make sure? But there was no reason to touch the motor because it doesn't use any oil. We've never had an issue with it. But anything else that needed some work, I did. To your question about the international tractors, I mentioned the significance of the 756. I bought that. Grandpa and I bought that on a farm sale 4 miles east of or west of Schleswig, to when I went from 130 acres to 280 acres. And same thing kind of happened with that. I used it for quite a few years, and then just out of memory, I just said enough's enough. And I do want to put a shout out to two guys that I think a lot of, Russ Reed and Skinny Prell. You'll see the magnet signs on all of them tractors, and they're the ones that restored them. Salt of the earth dudes. I mean, just great guys, and their work is second to none. I can tell you that 756, I don't think, if you talk to them today, I don't think there was a bolt that wasn't touched. There wasn't, nothing tore apart. Everything was looked into and fixed. And So the significance of the 756 was, Grandpa, the M is what I started with. I don't have my original M. I wish I did.
Sure.
But I bought this one and restored this one in memory of, that's how I got started.
Right.
The H, I just had an opportunity to buy one, and I had a little hankering to restore it, and Russ and Skinny did that. And the B actually is come from my mom and dad, and I don't have as much history with that, except that it just kind of made my line of internationals a little bigger.
And which would be my grandma and grandpa, they went on tractor rides, and they were, you can tell that there's 2 seats on it. So they
nice.
went up and down gravel roads on them old tractor rides. So
wow.
With an umbrella.
Yeah, big old umbrella.
Yeah. With an umbrella. It gets a little sunny there in Western Iowa, doesn't it?
Right.
In the summer. Yep. No, that is awesome. I love it. I love we got some blue, we got some green, we got some red, got some great CAD equipment. Folks, check out the excavators and the skid steers on Al sale this Saturday, June 21st. Again, the 5 Kinsey 3600 1631 planters. Grain carts. You got 7 Kinsey grain carts, Al. I've never seen a farm auction with 6 850s before. You're the first, my friend. That's awesome.
And a little bit of that is, or a lot of it is, for me, when I got into this, I had to simplify things. I didn't have semis. I didn't have storage. And when I met Bob, things grew so fast, and I had to keep things simple. And one of the first people that I delivered grain to was Flanagan Brothers. And then my operation kind of outgrew being able to take grain there, and they suggested to go to Elmquist Grain Elevator, and Gene Elmquist was the owner. Gene's gone today, but I can tell you that his memory's not. I sold a lot of grain to Gene Elmquist and his family, and just absolutely a great relationship with them. And then the tornado in 2010, I believe. 2011 wiped out Elmquist, and then I merged into Bruhn Co-op in Ute, and they were good partners. And then I new Co-op. They took over, bought out Bruhn Co-op, and I must tell you, they've been a tremendous partner. You know, people talk about big, and all they care about is the money. I can tell you that there is a heck of a personal touch with them people, and I can't say enough, because I could not have done any of this without some cooperation, some special cooperation from certain people. And you know, I know I'm going to miss somebody today, but I sure don't do it on purpose. And it's been a wonderful ride.
Yeah, well, again, I appreciate you sharing your story, Al, and we love to talk to sellers of the, you know, on the auction when we have the opportunity, and we can hear the emotion in your voice. It's a lifetime that you've spent, you know, building what you've built, kind of the American dream. Hats off to you, Al, for, you know, what you did and how you did it. And thank you so much for sharing with us your philosophy. And again, I'm really struck by how you keep bringing forward the word partner and honoring your you know, business partners and your cattle business. I know when we were out last week, you talked about so many great people over the years you guys have worked with there. So I should throw in one little plug, folks. When we talk to Al here, you might not realize it, but you're talking to an amazing pitcher from back in the day. Now, you'll have to fill in the year for me, Al, but you pitched was it Mapleton High School?
Yes, Mapleton, and we went to state in 1979, which was the first a baseball team from our school to go, and just recently, and there was only 4 teams, and that was back when it was in Marshalltown, and I played a lot of Legion baseball too, and just in a corny way, I loved dirt. When I played baseball, I loved getting the field ready, and I think that's what drew me to farming is the dirt, and that goes to my my excavator and stuff, and that was all. I did very little custom work with that. Most of that was just to own it, to improve and make my landlord's ground look better.
Sure.
Whether it was fence lines or what have you. So that's the significance of the heavy equipment. It was personally used, not in a custom. I did some, but not a lot.
Right.
And
so only 4 teams made the state tournament in the whole state of Iowa, 1979. Wow. You were one of 4.
Yeah, and we got beat 3-2 in the semifinals, and I lost. I always lost graciously, but I wasn't happy about it. I went to the back of the bus. I can remember that pretty vividly, like I'm sitting there today, and
Wow.
It
a
lot of good memories.
You lost 3-2 in the state semis, and but wow, I'm sure that in Mapleton they're still talking about you and the team there, what you did. But again, hats off to what you built, Al and folks. I put my own eyes on this stuff last week. Al and Jared kind enough to invite me out to Mapleton, and the care of the equipment. You can tell from talking to Al there what you're going to be buying Saturday. So again, the sale is June 21st. And again, tell us what time it starts. 9:30.
9 o'clock. The small items, and
okay.
Obviously it's going to be a long day. I will tell the folks that we're going to try to make their stay here at 14535 Walnut Avenue, Mapleton, Iowa, as comfortable as we can. We got a food bus coming. We got a lot of picnic tables for the shade. We've got some tents that we're going to set up periodically or throughout the machinery so people can get out of the sun. I think we're going to have a nice day. It's going to be a little warm, but we're going to have a breeze. So I invite everybody, and this isn't from a purchase standpoint. I invite anybody that wants to come enjoy a day on the farm. They don't have to spend a dime if they don't want to.
Well, that's a great invitation, Al. As we talked about last week, I wish I could be there Saturday, where I'm going to be on the other side of the state filming an auction for the TV show. But I did talk to Randy Pryor, our great auctioneer friend, legend in the business there with Iowa Machinery Man, and I think they're going to try and get. Well, sorry there, folks. Our Zoom session timed out as Al and I were wrapping up our conversation. But again, huge thanks to Al Bruhn and his son Jared for taking time to tell us about Al's farm career and that very unique line of machinery selling Saturday, June 21st in Mapleton, Iowa. Again, the sales by Iowa Machinery Man. Check out their website for info and online bidding, iowamachineryman.com. Al did want me to pass along a few closing notes, and you could tell from our interview there how important family and community is to Al. Has been through his farming career and will continue to be. So Al did want me to thank his family. So we have Calvin and Jessica Bruhn and their children Presley, Hudson, Cooper, Hadley, and Harper. Jared Bruhn, who was on the interview with us, and son Trip Bruhn. Jacob and Kelsey Berger and their children Bowden and Carver. And also Al's fiance Jackie. So congratulations from Machinery Pete and our audience on your upcoming marriage. Al also wanted to thank his landlords over the years, all the hired help he's had over the years to help him build his farm operation, the mechanics, the nutritionists, the cattle buyers, the auctioneers, the sale managers. Al just wanted to stress that these folks, they've all become truly good friends. And Al just wanted to say a heartfelt thank you. Lastly, there is a little more to the story here, as there often is with retirement auctions. And as Al liked to say, kind of the Paul Harvey angle, the rest of the story. We'll be looping around to touch on some of that, some of the reasons. This is a forced retirement auction for Al, but considerable thinking and consideration went into this. And again, Al is looking forward. But again, we'll loop around and touch on the rest of the story. But the main thing from Al is that his ag career, he said, was built by his love for people and love of the land. And I think that came through. And again, I always love the opportunities to talk to the sellers before the sale to get their point. And again, when Al brought out all those detail service records on the combines and the tractors, that's the kind of attention you got to this equipment. And again, the sale Saturday, June 21st, Mapleton, Iowa, iowamachineryman.com.